It's interesting what's promised by the master in this parable. You know, I have to be honest, I'm not sure we actually hear what's being said in this parable. In some ways, I think we hear just what we want to hear. We hear about talents, investment, reward, and it's easy to immediately interpret it this way. If God gives you something and you make something of it, then you will get more things and you will be happy. But if God gives you something and you don't use it, then he takes it away and you're punished. So in summary, the good investors get rewarded with riches and the fearful cowards get punished and thrown out. And probably most of us would say, now that's a good parable. That's something I can buy into. But that is not what this parable says. The master does not say, since you are smart with money, or since you are a clever businessman, or since you made a profit with what I gave you. He doesn't say that. He says, since you were faithful in small matters. Now, what does that mean, to be faithful in small matters? It means being faithful to the desire of the master who entrusted his possessions to them so that they could be put to use according to his intentions. And this comes out clearly in the third servant who gets raked across the coals for burying the thing in the ground, which is clearly not what the master would do, and the servant knows it. But even though he knows it, he still does it. And he's not faithful to the intention of the master. Instead, he is faithful to his own fear of messing up, of getting on the bad side of the master, which he ends up doing anyway. Friends, this parable is not about money. To be faithful in small matters means using even the smallest things according to the intention and the desire of the master. This is about aligning our mind to the mind of God. And we know it because of what happens next in the parable. What does the master say will be given to those who are faithful in small matters? I'll give you a hint. It's not more vacation time. It's not a Christmas bonus. It's not a subscription to the Jelly of the Month Club. It's none of those things. He says, since you are faithful in small matters, you will be given great responsibilities. Great, thank you. Just what I've always wanted. Great responsibilities. Thank you, Santa, for that tremendous Christmas gift. What kind of reward is that? But it is a reward. It's a reward precisely because we get to share in the creative work of God, who knows what things are for and wants everything and everyone to fulfill their proper purpose. This is our great responsibility, to help everything fulfill its proper purpose in this world. It means looking at people as children of God rather than as a means to an end. It means looking at our skills as something to manifest the glory of God rather than to become famous or wealthy. It means treating creation as a gift rather than as something to be exploited for our own gain. This is a great responsibility. And we cannot carry out this responsibility unless we are faithful in small matters, unless we recognize things for the purpose for which they were made. That means that we get up every day and we recognize that everything in front of us that has been given to us by God is given for a particular purpose, and it's not our purpose. It's not for our own benefit. It is for the purpose for which God has made it. And when we do that, when we see people and things as God sees them, then we can share the Master's joy. Since you are faithful in small matters, I will give you great responsibilities. Come share your Master's joy. This is the ultimate reward that we are offered. It's like a parent who sees their child fully alive and fully happy, recognizing their gifts and using them for the purpose of something great, something that is beyond them. Every parent, when they see that, rejoices. They share in the joy of their child because their child is being the person that God has made them to be. We become rich because we know the meaning of things, and we use things according to their proper purpose. We can wake up in the morning and we can see everything that is given, and we can say, I know what this is for. All of it is given by God for the sake of the glory of God. And so we become rich because we're sharing in the work that God is doing, and we know what it's for. But if that gets buried, if that gets lost somehow, if the purpose and the meaning of things gets lost, then we lose those riches because they're not fully what they were meant to be. It's like a parent. We do this here in our state. If a parent mistreats or abuses a child, the state takes that gift away because they say, you don't understand the beauty of this child, and you're not treating that child according for the beauty for which it was made. I mean, we even do this in our own government. This is what this parable is getting at. We have to appreciate the gifts and use things as gifts for the intention for which they were made. And when we don't do that, it leads to darkness and the wailing and grinding of teeth. Friends, look at all that's been given to us. Great gifts from God every single day. We could just look at this parable and say, this is the stewardship parable, and Father's going to tell us to give more money, and then we can go home feeling guilty. Great. I've heard this one before. We have to look deeper at what's here. We have to look at the mind of God and recognize why he gives us the gifts that he gives us. And that means that every day we have to root ourselves in the heart and the mind and the presence of God. It's a good examination for all of us this week to look at our friendships, to look at our possessions, to look at our talents and even our weaknesses, and ask, am I using it all for the glory of God? Friends, this is the only way to share in the joy of the Master.